Hi there, Simply Well Society. It's Emma here, and I will be guiding you through a all levels kind of foundational flow today. Let's go ahead and get started in a child's pose. Back of your mat, big toes touch, knees wide, arms forward. We're gonna hold poses for a little bit longer today, so a few breaths. This will give you some time to kind of perfect or work on the pose. If you do have a block handy, go ahead and grab that. It's really important to kind of nail the pose down or the alignment aspects of it before you start, exploring something deeper, working into more challenging postures, or even moving quicker on your mat. It's really important to make sure the alignment in even the most basic poses is correct. So that's what we're going to work on today. In your child's pose, let's start to deepen the breath, a little longer inhales, more complete exhales. Hit the pause button on whatever you had going on before this, and start to bring your focus completely onto your mat. Let's walk the hands a little bit more forward, find some length. And then walk your hands over to the right. Maybe right hand comes down by the knee. Feel a big stretch through the left side as you sink your left hip back towards your left heel. One more big breath here. And then slowly walk your hands all the way back through center and over to the left. Maybe the left hand will walk down by the knee, taking some big breaths into the right lung, feeling the expansion. One more breath. And slowly walk your hands back through center. Slide all the way forward onto your belly. Once you get there, forehead back down to the mat, arms by your side, palms down, thumbs out. Tops of the feet down. On your inhale, lift just your lower body. So keep pressing the palms down, forehead down. Think shoulders back from the ears. Really squeeze your glutes, point your toes, and try to get the heels closer to each other for 3, 2, 1. Release that. Bring your left ear to the mat. Take a breath. And then bring your forehead back to the mat. Keep your hands down this time, but lift your head and your legs up off the mat. So firming the triceps, look towards the top edge of your mat. Squeeze your glutes, inner thighs. Inhale. And exhale, release. Right ear down, take a gaze to the left. 1 breath. And then bring your forehead back through center. Everything lift. Legs up, chest up. Peel your forehead off the mat, and then finally lift your arms up. Fingers back, shoulders away from ears. Stay here, make a bind. Your knuckles will go towards your heels, lifting your hands away from your tailbone for 3, 2, 1. Release. This time, plant your hands under your shoulders. Bring your feet wider, about mat's distance. Hug the arms into your body as you curl up. So elbows hug in, shoulders roll back and down your spine. So proud sternum, lengthen the front of your body. Take a gaze over the right shoulder. And a gaze over the left shoulder. Back through center. Come back to child's pose. Now you can keep the knees together or wide. You'll just be here 1 breath. And then inhale, come up tabletop. Fingers spread out. Adjust the knees or the hands if you need. On your inhale, arch your back, cow pose. On your exhale, chin to chest, round your back, scoop your tailbone. Inhale, arch, look up. And exhale, round. A few more rounds. Follow the pace of your breath. So never feeling like you're in a rush to get to the next pose. Try to find the top of each inhale and the bottom of each exhale before you even think of going on. Allow the breath to set the pace. Let's say 2 more. Last one. Start to make your way back to your first downward facing dog. Tuck your toes underneath you and lift your hips up. You can keep the movement going by pedaling out the legs or shaking out the head. If it feels better, you can just stay still and start to really squeeze your thigh muscles onto the thigh bone. Spread the fingers out nice and wide. Pointer fingers point forward. The other 3 might splay out to the side a little bit. I like hands a little bit wider than shoulder width. Feels a little bit better, less crampy on the shoulders. Think about a little lift behind the heart space, spreading the fingers out nice and wide. Lengthening your arms and flipping the tailbone up towards the sky. Hips up as high as you can, then bring your feet out wide, about mat's distance. Walk your hands all the way back to your feet, back of the mat. Once you get there, block or no block, turn your toes out and drop your seat down for yogi squat. If you've got a block, it can go underneath your tailbone. Otherwise, hands heart is great. You could walk your hands forward as well. Try to draw some waistline in. So think of pulling your waist in and then almost drawing that length up through the crown of your head. So tailbone down, crown lifting, little tuck of your chin. Feel the back of your skull go up. Now the feet want to flop in, the knees want to flop in. So you're trying to use the elbows to press the knees away. Outside edges of the feet press down. Go ahead, bring your hands to the mat, lift your hips, point your toes forward and bind your hands behind your back. Arms waterfall up and over, bend the knees a decent amount. Try to rest your belly on your thighs. Crown of the head towards the mat. Gradually tipping your weight forward. Feel some length in the back side of the body. And then switch so the opposite thumb is on top. Bend your knees a little bit more and slowly use the strength of your arms, your upper body to come all the way up into a gentle standing back bend. Knuckles towards the mat, sternum lifting, gaze up. Release your grip, bring both arms up to the sky. And then draw your hands to your heart center. And down by your side. Take a big breath in. And exhale. Open your eyes. Walk to the top of your mat. Big toes touching. A little sliver between your heels. Arms by your side. Inhale, reach both arms up and look up. Press your palms together and then use your exhale, fold, bend the knees if you need. Inhale, lift up halfway, shoulders away from ears, gazing down. Plant your hands and step back with your right foot, then your left foot, chaturanga. Drop your knees for this first one, untuck your toes. Hug your arms in, lower your chest and chin towards the mat. Press your hips down, curl your chest forward, cobra. Shoulders back. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Hips high, drive your heels towards the mat. They don't need to touch. It's always okay to put a little bend in the knees. Better to do that than just round your back or send your hips lower. So you want hips high. Knees bending is fine. Relax the back of your neck. Look back between your feet. Inhale, lift your heels. Bend your knees. This is bear pose. Press your belly into your thighs. Lengthen your arms. Look forward between your thumbs and then step your right foot and your left foot to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Come all the way up to stand, reach both arms up, look up. Hands to your heart and to your side. So that was one round of sun salutation A. Let's go ahead and do another one. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, fold, bend the knees if you need. Inhale, halfway lift, prepare. Plant your hands, step back with your left foot, then your right foot. Now you can take knees down again if you prefer. Otherwise, lower halfway, thighs, knees lifted. Slide to the tops of your feet, thighs, hips floating for upward facing dog, sternum forward. And then roll over your toes to downward facing dog. Now either of those options are always okay. If you ever don't feel like doing it completely, you're always welcome to just meet back in a downward facing dog. As you move through each vinyasa, the goal is to move at the pace of your breath. So you're finishing your inhales, finishing your exhales, linking the movement with the breath, not vice versa. Inhale, heels up, bend your knees, bear pose, and look forward. Step with your left foot, then your right foot to the top. Inhale, halfway lift, flatten your back. Exhale, fold. Press into your feet, rise all the way up, reach up. Hands to your heart and down by your side. All right, bend your knees, try to get the fingers towards the mat, and then reach your arms up for Utkatasana, chair pose. Knees together, feet together, but if that doesn't feel good in your knees, take your feet hips distance. That's great too. Weight to your heels primarily. Take an inhale, look at your hands. Exhale, forward folds. Now let's all bring the feet about hips distance. Toes point forward. Take your peace sign fingers to your big toes. Use your thumbs on top of your big toe. Bend the knees as much as you need. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, pull yourself into a fold. The elbows go a little to the sides and back. Inside edges of the feet rolling down. Squeeze the inner thighs. Feel the tailbone lift, the crown of the head sink, and then think shoulders away from ears. Really focus on the exhales here to help you fold for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen. Slide hands under feet, palms face up. You're trying to get your toe tips towards your wrist crease. Now, if this doesn't feel good, you could always grab the ankles from the front instead. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, same idea. You're pulling yourself into a fold. Feel a stretch through the entire backside of your legs. Heels, calves, hamstrings, and glutes. Shoulders away from ears. 3, 2, 1. Release your hands and halfway lift. Plant both hands on the mat. Step or jump back, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Take an inhale. Exhale, step your right foot towards your right thumb. Spin your left heel down and come up to a warrior 1. Outside edge of the left foot driving down to help press your left hip forward. Engage your left glutes. Drive your right heel into the mat. Inhale, look up at your hands. Maybe you even press your palms together. Relax the shoulders down your spine and squeeze for 3, 2, 1. Straighten your right leg and turn your toes to the left. Now turn your left toes to face the back of your mat and bend your left knee for warrior 2. Line your left heel up with your right arch. You can widen the stance if you need. You want about a 90-degree bend in this left knee. Think of pressing the knees away from each other. Inhale, straight legs, maybe shorten the stance a bit. Lift your left arm up and back. Reverse triangle. Think of lifting your left rib cage away from your hip. Arms through center, reach forward and then down with your left hand for triangle pose on the left side. I like to grab the shin here. If you have a block, it's a great option here. Most people want to roll this right hip forward. So think of peeling the right hip back, almost like you're in between two panes of glass here. Last step is to look up at your right hand. Squeeze your left oblique, avoid dumping into that side. 3, 2, 1. Put a little bend in your left knee. Look down. Your right hand will come down to the mat, and then you're going to walk it over to this long edge of the mat and turn your left toes in, wide-legged fold. Now, starting with that little bend in the left knee, just helps make it safer on your hip. We're going to meet in this wide-legged fold. Line your fingertips up with your toe tips or as close as you can. Think about chaturanga arms. So the elbows aren't going out, they're hugging in, about 90 degrees. Crown of the head sinking, shoulders away from ears. Squeeze your thigh muscle onto the thigh bone. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, halfway lift, flatten your back. Walk towards the front of your mat, framing your right foot. Come up high onto your left toes, and then drop your left knee to the mat. Untuck your left toes and reach both arms up. Anjaneyasana B, low lunge. Squeeze your inner thighs and drive your right heel into the mat. If it feels okay, press your palms together and lean back a little bit. On your exhale, bring both hands down. Tuck your left toes. Move your fingertips forward for standing L. Lift your left leg up behind you. Flex your foot. Start to draw your hands to heart center for warrior 3. Think about a capital T shape. Flex your left foot. Squeeze your left glute, little tuck of your chin. The back of your neck is lengthening. And then coming up to stand, step your left foot to meet your right. Bring your hands to your lower back. Nudge your hips forward and take a gentle back bend. Scoop the tailbone towards the heels. Think of pressing your spine towards your heart, chin up. Inhale, center. Exhale, forward fold, come all the way down. Bend your knees, chair pose, Utkatasana. Feet together or apart. Melt the shoulders. Inhale, look up at your hands. Maybe this time palms together. It's a little bit harder on the upper back, the shoulders. Exhale, forward fold, straighten your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands, step or jump back, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take an inhale breath. On your exhale, step your left foot up to your left thumb. Spin your right heel down and come up to a warrior 1. Outside edge of the right foot, really driving down, almost like you're trying to lift the arch. Driving your right hip forward. You can think of a little twist over the left thigh almost. If you're gripping the mat with your left toes, bring more weight back to the heel. Inhale, look up, maybe the palms even press together. Squeeze your right glute. Straighten your left leg and turn your toes in. Right toes turn out towards the back of your mat, warrior 2. Widen the stance if you need. You want about 90-degree bend in that right knee. Squeeze your inner thighs. Think of the glute muscles clenching towards each other so the thighs can externally rotate. Look over your right hand, flip your right palm, and then straighten your legs, maybe shorten the stance a bit. Reverse triangle. Lift your right rib cage away from your hip. Come through center. The right hand will come to the shin, foot, or mat. If you've got a block, great time to use that. Again, think about being in between two panes of glass, so you don't want to be dumping forward or curling the chest back too much. Outside edge of the left foot is firmly pressing down, and you're driving the ball of the right foot into the mat. Last step is to look up at that left hand for 3. Belly button towards your spine, 2. Look down, put a little bend in your right knee. Bring your left hand down to the mat, and then go ahead and turn your right toes in, wide-legged fold. All 10 toes are pointing towards the long edge of your mat. Take your peace sign fingers and grab your big toes. Thumbs will cap the big toe. If that doesn't feel good, catch your feet or ankles from the outside. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, use the strength of your upper body to fold yourself in half. Waistline getting a little bit longer. Crown of the head lengthening. Tailbone up. Almost imagine somersaulting yourself forward. We'll be here for 3. And 2. And 1. Hands to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk towards the front of your mat. Runner's lunge. Left foot forward. You'll drop your right knee to the mat and untuck your toes. Reach both arms up, Anjaneyasana, crescent B. Feel a nice stretch through the right hip flexor. Inhale, look up, maybe even palms press and you lean back. Exhale, both hands to the mat, tuck your right toes. Move your fingertips forward as you go to a standing L. Right foot flexed. You want that right hip point pointing down. It's easy for the hip to open up to the right. Think about the outer hip dropping and the inner thigh lifting. Let's bring both hands up to the heart center gradually. Warrior 3. Tuck your chin. Think about the hips being square to the mat for 3. Can you lift your right heel more? 2. 1. Step your right foot up to meet your left. Bring your hands to your lower back. Nudge your hips forward and then curl back into your back bend. Squeeze your thighs, hips forward, chin up. Inhale up through center. Exhale, take it all the way down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands, step back or jump back, chaturanga. Inhale, come up. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inverted V shape. Fingers spread out, hips up nice and high. Inhale, lift your right leg up and back, but keep your hips square. Right toes point down, hip point points down. Take a step to your right thumb. It might help to widen the stance a little bit. And then reach both arms up, high lunge, crescent A. Back heel off the mat. Bend your right knee a little bit more. You'll start to shift the weight into the right leg. As you come forward, hug your left knee into your chest. Flex your left toes. Bring the bottom of your left foot to your inner right thigh or shin for tree pose. Hands can come to your heart center. Reach them up. You could take reverse prayer behind the back. Choose something that suits you today. Drive your right heel down into the mat and focus on one spot. The more you try to look around, the harder it will be. 3, 2, 1. Gradually bring your left knee out in front of you. Come to a standing L. The left leg will go back and hands will come down to mat or block. Then take about a 3 to 4 foot step back with your left foot. Your left toes are turned out at about 45 degrees. You're folding over your right leg for pyramid pose. Tug your right hip back and drive your left hip forward. Think of a little twist over the right thigh. And then imagine a glass of water or something liquid on your back and you don't want it to spill side to side. Trying to drag the heels towards each other. 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead, bump your hands a little forward. Step your left foot up to meet your right. Bend your knees. Chair pose. Reach your arms up. And exhale, forward fold, straighten your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands, step back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward. Exhale, downward dog. Lift your left leg up, but keep your hips square. So hip point down, toes down. And then exhale, take a step to your left thumb. Wider stance might make it easier, both arms up. Think about the tailbone dropping, melt your shoulders. Left knee bent a lot. Take an inhale. Start to shift the weight into your left leg, then hug the right knee into the chest. Flex your right toes. You should already feel pretty strong and stable through your left leg here. Tree pose, bottom of the right foot to the inner left thigh. One or both hands heart center, or do the same thing that you did on the other side. Think about knitting your ribs towards your hips and then pulling your hip points up towards your ribs, engaging your core. 3. Steady breath. 2. Bring your right knee out in front of you. 1. Gradually start to dive down to a standing L. Hands to the mat. Flex your right toes. And then take a step back with your right foot. Your stance is about 3 to 4 feet. Right toes 45 degrees. Drive your right hip point forward and left back as you fold over your left leg, pyramid pose. Thinking about a little twist over the left leg. Drive the ball of your left foot down. 3. 2. 1. Little bend in your left knee. Bump your hands forward. Step your right foot up to meet your left. Bend your knees. Last time, chair pose. Sit a little bit lower this time for 3. 2. 1. Exhale, forward folds. Inhale, lift up halfway. Step back to a plank. And then slowly, with or without the knees, lower all the way down onto your belly. Great. Once you get there, go ahead and bend both knees. Reach back for your feet. Now, if you don't catch your feet, that's okay. You can just continue reaching in that direction and flex the feet. On your inhale, you're going to lift up and stamp your heels towards the ceiling. If you do have a hold on your feet or ankles, you can choose whether you want to point or flex the feet. 3. Keep kicking into your hands if you've got the grip. 2. 1. Release that. Hands under your shoulders. Tops of the feet down. Inhale, roll up, cobra pose. And then exhale back, child's pose. Bring your knees out wide, forehead to the mat. Take a big inhale. And exhale. 1 more. Alrighty, inhale up through tabletop. Have you cross your ankles and take a seat back. Extend your legs forward. I might need to scoot more towards the center of the mat. Legs extended forward, feet flexed. I like to move the fleshy part of the seat out of the way here so you can really feel the sitting bones go down. Inhale, both arms up. Bend the knees if you need and reach for your feet. You want to keep the feet flexed. Inside edges of the feet going forward and the outer blades tugging back. Think about the sternum towards your toes and the shoulders back. Now if that's going well, keep hinging forward and drop your head, but try not to round your back too much. The target area here is the lower back, and either way, whether your knees are bent or straight, you're going to feel a stretch through your calves and hamstrings for 3. 2. 1. Start to walk your hands back towards you. Bump your hips forward and lower all the way down onto your back. Once you get onto your back, walk your feet towards your butt. Toes point forward. Arms down by your side. Imagine you're squeezing a balloon or a yoga block, or if you actually have one, you can put it between your knees. Drive your heels into the mat and lift your hips up. If you have a block, you could also put the block underneath your tailbone for supported bridge. Then you're still going to get the length through the front of the body.
You're just not getting the activation so much in the backside of the body. So you choose what you need today. The gaze stays up so your neck is neutral for 3, 2, 1. Gradually lower your hips down and hug your knees into your chest. Keep your right leg in, extend your left leg all the way. Try to hug your right knee towards your right armpit, avoid the rib cage. If the left shoulder wants to lift up, pull it back down. Definitely flex your left foot. The right leg can be pretty inactive here. Little tuck of the chin. And then guide your right knee all the way over to the left. Right arm can reach out long like a T shape or cactus shape. The right shoulder melting down. One more breath. And slowly unwind. Both knees into your chest. This helps to reset your spine from that twist. Keep your left leg in, extend your right leg all the way. Flex your right foot, try to drive the heel forward, and then think of the left knee coming towards the left armpit. Engage your bicep muscles. The right shoulder blade might want to lift up, try to tug it back down. Little tuck of your chin. You should feel a nice compression in the left hip joint and a lengthen through the right. Slowly guide your left knee across your body. Look to the left, either long arm or cactus shape. Try to keep the left shoulder blade heavy and towards the mat. One more breath. Gradually bring your knees back through center. Hug both knees into your chest, again as a reset. Then go ahead and extend your legs. Sprawl your arms off your mat. Palms face up. If there's a different resting posture you prefer to close your practice with, go for it. Otherwise, I like to wiggle the shoulder blades a little underneath, kind of scoot the tailbone away from me, trying to get the lower back a little closer to the mat. A gentle tuck of the chin, and then relax your inner thighs, the soles of your feet. Release any contraction in your abdomen, no holding, no tension. Heart space open, not constricted. And then relax your arms, soften your palms. Even allow the muscles in the fingers to soften. Relax your jaw, allow your lips to part, your natural breathing to resume. Soften your facial muscles and let your eyelids become heavy. Savasana. Bring some gentle awareness back to your physical body, maybe the fingers and toes first. Gentle rock, head side to side. Big stretch. Arms overhead, toes point. And then hug your knees in and roll to one side. Fetal pose. Complete resting. You can use your bicep as a pillow. And gradually make your way up to a comfortable seat. Heavy sitting bones, lightness through the crown of your head, nice tall spine. Draw both hands to your heart center, press your thumbs into your sternum. Take a big inhale. Exhale. Bow your head towards your heart. Om Shanti, Om Peace. Thank you for sharing your energy and for choosing to practice with me. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this more foundational flow and it helped you kind of understand some of these foundational poses just a little bit more and get the correct alignment on some of the poses, maybe how to use blocks properly in a lot of the asanas, which means postures. If you do have any questions about anything specifically, always feel free to ask me in the comments. I'm happy to help you out. Feel free to check out all my other videos on YouTube as well. I have one tutorial if you're more interested about how to do chaturanga and sun salutations, that might be helpful, and some other maybe faster paced vinyasa classes. So definitely hit the subscribe button if you've enjoyed this one, and I can't wait to see you next time. Namaste.